Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. All praise to the Most High. Good morning to your Facebook fam. Yeah, this your boy Norm coming at you with another video. I know I usually hit you with a happy Sabbath day on the Sabbath day, but today I decided to do a video about the Sabbath and why I do what I do and say what I say concerning the Sabbath. Now, I know a lot of you that are yet in the grips of religion. A lot of you have been told, like I was told at one time, that the Sabbath is done away with. And you say things, or we say things like that we are not under the law. But a lot of times, in most cases, we say that because we don't have a proper understanding of the scripture. And we're going off of what somebody else said, you know what I'm saying? Mainly most of the pastors that usually make that statement to a member when a member says, do we supposed to yet keep the Sabbath or honor the Sabbath? And they'll say things like, again, we're not under the law. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. Let's focus on the term, we're not under the law, for a minute. So that means that if you believe that there is no such thing as breaking a commandment, then take the focuses off of the Sabbath for a minute and focus on the term, we are not under the law. So that means that thou shalt not steal is no longer a commandment that I have to keep. Thou shalt not kill is a commandment that I no longer have to keep. If being not under the law means that, according to the text. Think about it. Honoring the Sabbath or keeping the Sabbath is one of those commandments. It's one of the 10 that we were given, which is more than 10, but it's 10 that we were given. So if I don't have to keep or honor the Sabbath, why would I have to not steal? Doesn't make sense to do it. Think about it. Just focus in on when it comes to the Sabbath, your pastor or somebody going to tell you we're not under the law. And if you think about it, it doesn't add up. Why would the Creator tell us that one of the commandments we don't have to do? Or where did he tell us that at? Now, I'm finna show you that the Sabbath was a commandment that kept going. It did not stop. It might have stopped with you and your pastor, because that's one of the lies that religion has fed us. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into it. All right. Let's start off with the Messiah, who we call Jesus, you know what I'm saying, or who we were taught to call Jesus. Let's look at Luke chapter 4, and we're going to start with verses 16. Let me find it. As you can see, this is Luke, and I'm in a King James Bible. This is a King James version. I want y'all to know that. It's the same. If you got one, you can follow along with me. In your spare time, go and look it up. All right. Now let's key in on verses 16. Oh yeah, we're going to read the script today, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Verses 16. And it starts here. It says, and he taught in their synagogues, being glorified of all. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for to read. Now think about it. Why did it mention this is how the Messiah was brought up? Why? Again, because it's a commandment. Poor translation, because it used the word, it shouldn't even say custom. But like I said, these translations are tricky because you got to think about it. Most of these translations were made by Christians. The Christian church does not support the Sabbath, which is a commandment. How do I know? Because I came out of a Christian church. I know. They didn't teach us to keep the Sabbath. They taught us to honor and keep committing to Sunday, which is not the seventh day of a week. It's the first day of the week. Now think about it. And we so quick to say, I follow Jesus. Well, why when it comes to the Sabbath day, you stop? You see what he was doing every Sabbath day. It was a part of their culture, or can I say our culture? It's right there in the text. I didn't write that in. That's not my writing. Look, as his custom was. It didn't say Sunday. And I know a lot of y'all saying, oh man, that's a lot of y'all that still don't believe that you are the true descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or Israel. You know, you saying that, hey, well, now that the Gentiles don't have to. Now, I'm gonna show you eventually in this same book. If you want to still call yourself a Gentile, that's cool. But I'm gonna show you what the Gentiles started doing in order to be obedient. In my last video, I made the statement that any nation that was willing to follow the ways and lifestyle of the descendants of Israel were accepted by the Creator. They knew in order to be accepted by the Creator, or Israel's God, or Israel's Elohim, they had to follow the culture of an Israelite to be accepted. Meaning they had to keep the same commandments that the Israelites were given in order to be accepted by the Creator. And I'm going to show it to you. Now, let's go to Acts chapter 17. Let's flip over to Acts chapter 17. And I'm trying to figure out, I always tried to figure out once I come to this knowledge, how is it that the Sabbath day, if it was done away with it, why do you still see it in the New Testament? What we call the New Testament. Why do you still see it mentioned? If it was done away with, it wouldn't even be mentioned. Don't you think? I know a lot of y'all are probably going to be like, oh, but look at it. Don't it make sense? If it was done away with, why are you still seeing it in the New Testament? You don't see animal sacrifices in the New Testament. Think about it. And we know that was once required for us as children to offer up sacrifices, animal sacrifices. But why you don't see that practice in the new writings? You know why? Because it was done away with it. We no longer have to operate through a Levitical priesthood. And that debunks tithing. You know what I'm saying? It don't debunk giving, but we're no longer under the Levitical priesthood as a nation. We don't operate under a Levitical priesthood because we scattered. So stop letting these folks use tithing as a means of putting you in bondage to give. Don't make sense. And a lot of reading don't make sense to a lot of y'all because y'all don't read. Well, we finna read today, though. If you don't want to read with me, hey, just don't look at this video because we finna do some reading. What did I say? Acts chapter 17? Acts 17. Let's go. Let's get it. 17 verses 1 through 2. Where we at? There we go. We're way down here, y'all. Let's look at it. It says, now when they had passed through Amphipolis and Apollio, and Apollio, really can't pronounce that word, y'all. Y'all bear with me. They came to Thessalonica, where was a synagogue, where was a synagogue of Jews. And Paul, or Shaul, as his manner was, went in unto them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them out the scripture. He was there 3 Sabbath days. Again, where is Acts? New Testament. Why is it mentioning him reasoning with them in the synagogues on the Sabbath if it's done away with? If it's no longer required. You know why it was yet going on? Because it was a commandment, just like thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. It's listed with one of those, so it's going to keep going on. We just was lied to. That's what happened. We was lied to. They got us worshiping and honoring Sunday. Then they use scripture out of context. Every day is a holy day. This one dude told me. How? Not according to scripture. Every day is not a holy day. It's only one day that he set aside for himself. One day. And that was the Sabbath day. Now you can call every day a holy day. But if the scripture don't call it that, who right and who wrong? I would like to think we wrong if we call every day a holy day. Because if we go on by the guidelines of this book, now if you're not a believer in the book, we straight. But if you're a believer in this same book that I believe in, these guidelines are in stone. Unless the scripture say it's done away with, we can't say that it's done away with. Now your religion might teach you that it's done away with, but that's just your religion. What was it? Acts chapter 17, 1 through 2. Let's go to Acts chapter 13. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Let's go backwards. Acts chapter 13, verses 14. We finna get it, y'all. Y'all finna stop saying, well, that's just Norman belief. It ain't my belief. If it's in this King James version and you got a King James version, it's in yours too. Did I say shalom today? Shalom, that means peace. Forgive me if I didn't say shalom. Acts chapter 13, verses 14. It says, let me show it to you. Let me key in on verse 14. That's verses 14. Let me straighten this up a little bit because I want y'all to see it. It says, but when they departed from Perga, they came to Antioch at Pisidia, and went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and sat down. That is again. When it came to the synagogue, notice it mentioned it was on the Sabbath day. Now, I'm not saying that they didn't go into the synagogue any other day, but whenever it came to doing any type of teaching or listening to the Torah being read, it was on the Sabbath day. And no, they did not do any work. It's listed in the Torah, in the Old Testament, the do's and don'ts on the Sabbath day. Now, I understand that a lot of us that come into this knowledge like I did, we were already working on the Sabbath because that's what we was taught. We was taught to honor Sunday. And it's going to take a little time for people to adjust and to kind of rearrange their schedules. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to be a true follower of the Most High, you're going to have to keep the Sabbath. You have to find a way to keep the Sabbath. They're just facts. You know what I'm saying? Ask the Most High for wisdom. He'll give you wisdom and he'll give you favor. He will. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to remain a Christians do not keep the Sabbath. They are worshipers of Sunday. They're just facts. If you want to remain a Christian, you don't have to. But if you don't want to, if you don't want to do the Sabbath, you might well stop keeping all the commandments then. Because you can't pick and choose which ones you want to obey. You just going to be lost. That's just facts. You just gonna be considered a heathen, because everybody outside the customs of Israel, which are our folk, everybody that operated in custom outside of ours was considered a heathen. That's why Christians practice Christmas. That's why they do all the holidays, because they can. They just pick and choose out the scripture what they want to obey. And Sabbath was one of them that they didn't pick and choose. That's why your pastor, that's a Christian pastor, say, again, that you can eat anything, because he is a Christian. When he come into the knowledge of what this book is really saying, and he start from the beginning, he going to realize, even if he thinks he's a Gentile, to be pleased and accepted by the Creator, you got to follow the customs of the Israelites. That's what he said. That's the book. If this book was not meaningful, why did the Christians choose some of the things to follow? That's something to think about. You can't do what you choose to do when it comes to Creator. Either you do what he says or don't do what he said at all. That's facts. That's just like me going and stealing your car, taking it and washing it and cleaning it up without your permission, and bringing it back to you thinking that you're going to be okay with it. What sense did that make? First of all, I had no business in your car without your permission. Cleaning it up ain't going to be enough. That's how it is with the Creator. If he told you not to do or to do something, unless you do what he say do and don't do what he said don't do, only then are you accepted by him. It's proven with King Saul or Shaul in the old writings. He told Saul to slay all. He didn't. He did what he wanted to do, and the kingdom was snatched from him. And he eventually was killed, him and his son. For what? Not doing what the Creator said do. So stop letting folks tell you what you don't have to keep. Go and read for yourself. I'm showing you where it kept going on. Why? Because it's a commandment. Let's go to same chapter, Acts 13 and 42. Let's go to 42. Look at it. 42. What does it say? And when the Jews were gone out of the synagogue, the Gentiles, the Gentiles, to all those that think they still Gentiles, besought that these words might be preached to them the next when? The next Sabbath. Look at it again. And when the Jews were gone out the synagogue, this particular Sabbath, the Gentiles besought that these words might be preached to them the next Sabbath. Not Sunday, not the next day, not Tuesday, not Wednesday, not Thursday, not Friday, but the next Sabbath. They wanted to hear it the next Sabbath. Why? Because they knew that there was a commandment that they actually do what they do on the Sabbath day. They knew that. So don't keep saying, well, I'm a Gentile, I ain't got to keep. Okay, then. Well, what? You see it right there in the book. You see it right there in the book. It's right there in our eyes, y'all. I ain't making this up. And again, I'm not trying to get you to follow me. I'm trying to get you to see. I'm talking about the ones that really believe in this book. If you really don't believe in this book, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people that have or want to have an open mind. That's what I'm talking to. You know what I'm saying? And no, it's not a religious book. People just act like cause you read the Bible, oh, here go. That's what I'm constantly getting away from. I don't want people to treat me like I'm this idol or that's another. Just because these guys have made you think that just because you read out the Bible, you got to be a preacher or something. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a guy that's over people. He ain't called us to be rulers over no people. That ain't how the Creator moves. I'm doing what he told me to do as a man. Get understanding. Man to man, I'm trying to get you, bro, to get understanding. My sister, to get understanding. You know what I'm saying? Go get up under you a good man that got understanding of the book that can teach you. I'm not finna tell you to go off into no doggone church, because a lot of these churches don't teach that. They're not going to teach it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Viner Creek here in Batesville. I mean, if you want to get taught it in what we call the synagogue on the Sabbath, oh, Pastor Ozane rocking there every Sabbath day because he understands the scripture. A former Christian pastor that woke up. You're not going to see Viner Creek open on no Sunday. He's open on the Sabbath day because he understands. But he's amongst hundreds of pastors in this area that won't do it. Because once they realize that they're wrong in that era, it's a lot more areas they're going to realize they're wrong in. And then the members going to realize they're wrong. You know what I'm saying? Blind leading the blind. And again, I ain't got nothing personal against nobody. You know what I'm saying? A lot of folks say, well, the church must hurt you. Ain't no church hurt me. I was in it. I wouldn't have been in something that was hurting me. Opening my eyes up and consistently reading and having an open mind woke me up. That's what woke me up. You know what I'm saying? That's what I had a thirst for knowledge. And I knew there was something tricky about the religion I was in. It didn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't add up. A lot of this stuff I was reading, we weren't even doing. And I'm like, if we're going to follow the Bible, why are we picking and choose what to follow? It makes sense now. Go read for yourself. No such thing as the Sabbath being done away with. No such thing. That's a lie. They lied to us, and they yet lying to you if you yet believe that you can honor a day that he did not give you to honor. Why? Why the Sabbath? Because that's his day. The Most High, the Creator, rested on the Sabbath day, and he set it apart for himself. And everything that he calls his own, he told to do the same thing. Don't bear false witness against thy neighbor. Why? Those are things, he gave us commandments to have peace. Those things give us peace amongst our people. Thou shalt not kill. Peace. You know what I'm saying? Those things like that. You know what I'm saying? Folks said, God killed a lot of folks. No. What he did, he continued to try to make his people a clean environment. That's all he was doing. He constantly was telling us to don't get around these folk because you're going to pick up their ways. And that's what we did as a nation. We mixed and mingled with nations that did not follow this book in its entirety. And that's why we think we can pick and choose what to do. That's why we do it. So I said Shabbat Shalom. Again, happy Sabbath day. From my family to yours, know that I love you with the love of the Most High. Go do your research. Take these verses. If you want to go show these verses to your pastor, go show them to him. Hey, if he don't admit that is wrong to teach against the Sabbath, that means that, hey, either you going to believe him or you going to start believing what you see. I just showed you in the book that if it was done away with, why did you still see it being practiced? And why did the Gentiles want to be a part of it? If you're saying you're a Gentile. So I said shalom. I love you with the love of the Most High. Till next time, peace out.